Welcome to the Negotiating Power lecture. Let's start with a definition. Power is the ability to influence others, thoughts, values, and/or behavior. Leadership and power are interdependent. A leader needs to exercise at least some form of power to motivate their followers. But the more power you give away, the more power you have. Recognizing the power of followers can strengthen the leader-follower relationship. Remember, just like conflict, power in itself is not problematic, but how you wield it can be. Before we talk about the negative aspects of power, let's talk a little bit about the types of power. Here's a power breakdown slide. Let's go through these one at a time. So referent power is the ability to attract people. You have power because people like you, or a follower has power because they're likable. The positive aspect of this is that when people like you, it can increase performance and satisfaction. But the downside is that it takes time to develop this relationship, and this relationship can be less effective over time. Once people know you and they know your patterns and they know your ins and outs, then they might be disinclined to increase their performance and satisfaction for you. The next type of power is expert power, and that's based on what you know. So the positive of expert power is that if people believe that you are knowledgeable, it could again increase their performance and satisfaction. But the downside is expert power is only effective if people are sharing the same goal, and what you know, the knowledge that you have, is important to your followers. The same for followership, right? A follower that knows a lot about a particular thing is going to have increased performance and satisfaction in that area. But in other areas, maybe their performance won't be as good where they know less. The legitimate type of power is based on your position or your role as a leader or a follower. So when you have legitimate power, it's easier to elicit obedience from followers. But the downside is that could decrease their performance and satisfaction. They're only following you because of your title, not for any other reason. Reward power is about the control of resources. So a leader who has reward power can boost the performance of followers because they can reward them with money, with promotions, with other incentives. But the downside is that those rewards come at a cost. And at some point, you might not be able to financially reward people or offer performance because it's a limited resource and there just isn't anything left. Coercive power is when you threaten or punish someone. So the positive of coercive power is you can get people to do what you want them to do, but the downside is they're only doing it because you're threatening or punishing them. So that's going to decrease their satisfaction. The performance might go up, but it's not going up for the right reasons. This is a useful transition to power plays. The first power play is bullying, repeatedly attempting to dominate and humiliate. And we can find bullying in any social interaction with a group of people. Specifically, we have workplace bullying, which is persistent intimidation and degradation or undermining of one or more persons via hostile and aggressive communication. That technical definition is a mouthful, but maybe the image shows it best, where we have the little pawn characters, where we have one pawn that's like leading the group to persistently, not just once or twice, but persistently make someone else in the group feel bad through hostile and aggressive communication. And then finally, we have mobbing, which connotates a group of coworkers who are targeting another coworker. So bullies represent the abuse of power. They promote their own power at the expense of others, and they equate power with force. They're selfish, they move against others, and a bully can be of any gender, any race, and any age. We like to think that we grow out of bullying behaviors after middle school, but that's not true, especially when we look at abuses of power in the workplace. Let's talk now about two types of smart power. The first is empowerment, where the leader is a catalyst. The leader encourages the personal development and growth of the followers. The leader encourages followers to be innovative. The leader is willing to share power with followers. The result is a flattening of the organization structure. So it isn't so much a hierarchy, but followers are empowered to contribute to the organization. Empowerment inhibits a leader's abuse of power because they're inherently sharing the power with followers. But still, the leader is the catalyst. The leader is the one that spurs the follower to be more independent. A self-leader, on the other hand, is the follower as the catalyst. Under self-leadership, followers lead themselves. They're disciplined, they already have self-confidence, and they're prepared to do what needs to be done to support the organization. Under empowerment and self-leadership, the efforts of the followers end up being the driving force for change. And when the followers have agency, they believe that they are in control of their destiny and their futures, they're more willing to adapt to change, and they're more willing to respond to the vision set by the leader. Smart power, then, is power that can be expanded and shared, power that is interdependent. The personal reflection question for this lecture is, how will you use and get others to use power wisely? This concludes the Negotiating Power lecture.